In 2023, Travis Ganger drove his homegrown pumpkin from Anoka, Minnesota, all the way to Half Moon Bay, California to have it weighed. It weighed 2,749 pounds. That's roughly the weight of a mid-sized SUV. And he grew that pumpkin from a single seed in a backyard garden in Zone 4, watering up to 12 times a day during peak growing season in a season so wet that he had to fertilize in a way different than he had originally planned. Today I'm talking about growing pumpkins in Zone 4. Not the huge ones, but the ones that fit our gardens, our season, and our front porches. Hi, I'm Carol from Almost 2 Acres. Let's grow pumpkins in Zone 4. Growing pumpkins in Zone 4 comes down to one thing: days to maturity versus your actual growing season. Zone 4 gives you about 120 to 130 frost-free days. That sounds like plenty until you realize you can't plant pumpkins until the soil warms in late May or early June, which means your season for pumpkins is really closer to 100 to 110 days of warm growing weather. A pumpkin that needs 120 days to mature planted on June 1st needs to be done by late September. In Zone 4, that's cutting it kind of close. The rule: choose varieties with 100 days or fewer for reliable Zone 4 production. Anything over 110 days requires season extension or a very warm summer. Small and pie pumpkins are your most reliable Zone 4 choice. Sugar pie at 100 days is the classic pie pumpkin. Small, round, 6 to 8 pounds, with dense, sweet, dry flesh that's ideal for baking. It is not the most exciting looking pumpkin on the porch, but it reliably matures in Zone 4 and produces excellent food. Baby Bear at 105 days is a compact semi-bush plant that doesn't send vines sprawling 15 feet in every direction, a real advantage in smaller gardens. It produces small, flat pumpkins with good flavor. Baby Bear won an All-American Selections Award, which means it performed well across many different growing regions in trials. And then New England Pie, 100 days. This heritage variety, as the name suggests, is bred for exactly the kind of short-season, cool climate growing we do in Zone 4. With dense orange flesh, it handles cool fall weather well and stores for months. Now we move on to medium carving and decorative pumpkins. Howden comes in at 115 days. This is the classic orange jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, the one that looks exactly like the pumpkin emoji. It's beautiful, it's iconic, and at 115 days in Zone 4, it's a gamble. In a warm year, you'll get gorgeous pumpkins. In a cool year, you'll be watching green pumpkins sitting in the garden while the nights get colder. If you want to grow Howden, start plants indoors 2 to 3 weeks early and use black plastic mulch. Autumn Gold comes in quicker at 90 days, an excellent Zone 4 carving pumpkin. It turns orange earlier than most varieties while still on the vine rather than after harvest, and matures a full 2 to 3 weeks before Howden. This is the Zone 4 jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. Same look, much more reliable timing. Cinderella. This gorgeous French heirloom looks like the carriage from the fairy tale. It's deeply ribbed, flattened, and brilliant orange red. Its flesh is also excellent for cooking. At 100 to 110 days in Zone 4, you should give it an early start. Jarradale matures in 100 days. A stunning blue-gray Australian heirloom with dense, sweet orange flesh, it cures to a beautiful slate blue color and looks extraordinary on a fall porch alongside orange pumpkins. Zone 4 appropriate and worth growing for the visual alone. And now the large pumpkins. Proceed with awareness. Atlantic Giant at 120 to 130 plus days is the world record variety. It is achievable in Zone 4 only with indoor starting, season extension tools, and serious commitment. This is not a reliable Zone 4 crop, but absolutely possible for a dedicated grower who wants the challenge. Let's work through the timing so you can plan your planting with your eyes wide open. Here's how to work backward from your desired harvest date. If your harvest target is September 20th and you have a 100-day variety, count back 100 days from September 20th You need to sow or transplant by June 12th. If you have a 110-day variety, now you have to sow by June 2nd. For a 120-day variety, you must sow by May 23rd, which in Zone 4 is before the soil is reliably warm enough. This is why large varieties are a stretch. Starting pumpkins in peat pots or soil blocks indoors 2 to 3 weeks before your planned outdoor date gives you a head start without the transplant shock that comes from disturbing roots. Pumpkins, like their cucurbit cousins, the cucumbers and squash, dislike root disturbance. Peat pots solve this because you plant the whole pot, roots and all, directly in the ground and the pot breaks down. Sow 1 to 2 seeds per peat pot, keep them warm and under lights, and transplant when the soil has reached 65 degrees and the last frost has passed. Harden them off for 5 to 7 days before transplanting. Pumpkins are heavy feeders and they need room. Both of these things are non-negotiable. Dig a generous planting hole, at least 12 inches deep and 18 inches wide, and work in a good amount of compost. Pumpkins reward rich soil. Some growers plant directly in or near a compost pile and let the vines run from there. This is not a bad strategy. Pumpkins thrive in very rich, organic, matter-heavy soil. Spacing is where a lot of gardeners get a shock. Vining pumpkins need 6 to 10 feet between plants, and vines can run 10 to 15 feet or more. In a small garden, that means 1 or 2 pumpkin plants take up an enormous amount of real estate. Plan for this before you plant, not after your pumpkin vine has consumed 3 square feet of your lettuce bed. Here are some strategies for small spaces. Train your vines. Pumpkin vines don't have to go wherever they want. You can redirect them along a fence line or down a garden path, or even into the corn rows for the Three Sisters planting system. Lift the vine gently and point it in the direction you want. It will go there. Grow over a trellis like I do. I see much information out there about supporting the larger pumpkins and how you should only grow small pumpkin varieties like sugar pie and baby bear. I have personally never had any problems growing medium-sized pumpkins on my cow panel arches. My 8 or so pound pumpkins have done fine. The vine seems to know how strong it will have to get to protect its own fruit. Now let's talk hills versus rows. Traditional pumpkin planting uses hills, slightly raised mounds of amended soil where 2 to 3 seeds are planted together. The mound improves drainage and warms faster than flat soil. Space hills 6 to 8 feet apart. Once the seedlings are up, thin to the strongest 1 to 2 plants per hill by cutting them, not pulling them out. Pollination is a common pumpkin problem, especially when the flowers fall off without producing fruit. Pumpkins produce separate male and female flowers on the same plant. Male flowers appear first, often a week or 2 before the female flowers. They have a thin, straight stem. Female flowers come later and have a tiny proto-pumpkin, a small swelling at the base of the flower. This is the ovary that will become the fruit if pollination is successful. Pollination requires a bee, or you, to transfer pollen from a male flower to a female flower. Without successful pollination, the female flower drops off and no fruit forms. This is normal, not a failure. If your pumpkins are dropping female flowers without setting fruit, the most common causes are: 1. No male flowers are available yet. Early female flowers sometimes appear before the males are open. Wait for both to be open at the same time. And 2. Poor pollinator activity. Cold, rainy, or overcast days keep bees home. Fewer bees means less pollination. This is quite relevant in Zone 4, where early summer weather can be cool and wet. You can help by using hand pollination. In the morning when flowers are open, use a small paintbrush or your finger to transfer pollen from a male flower directly to the center of a female flower. Or simply pick a male flower, peel back the petals, and rub it directly against the female flower's center. Done! You've pollinated your pumpkin. It takes 30 seconds and guarantees fruit set regardless of what the bees are doing. Pumpkins are heavy feeders and benefit from a structured feeding approach through the season. At planting, work compost into the planting hole. This is your foundation.
During vine growth, a balanced fertilizer or compost tea every 2 to 3 weeks encourages strong vine and leaf development. Once flowers appear, switch to a lower nitrogen, higher phosphorus and potassium feed. High nitrogen at flowering encourages more leaves and fewer fruits. You want the energy going into fruit development now, not foliage. Once fruits are set and growing, give them a light feeding every few weeks. Don't overdo it late in the season. You want the plant directing energy towards ripening, not producing new growth. Consistent moisture is important during vine growth and fruit set. Once pumpkins are sizing up and approaching maturity, reduce watering. Too much water late in the season dilutes flavor and can cause cracking or poor curing. Direct water at the base of the plant, not overhead. Wet leaves are an invitation to powdery mildew, which is the most common pumpkin disease and almost inevitable by late season. Knowing when a pumpkin is ready to harvest is something that trips up a lot of first-time pumpkin growers. Here are the signs of ripeness. The vine near the pumpkin stem begins to dry and shrivel. The skin hardens. You should not be able to dent it with your fingernail. The color has reached its full mature shade. The underside of the pumpkin, where it rests on the ground, has turned from white or yellow to orange or tan. And when you thump it with your knuckles, it sounds hollow, similar to a ripe watermelon. Make sure you harvest before hard frost. A light frost won't hurt a mature pumpkin, but a hard freeze damages the skin and shortens storage life significantly. Cut, don't pull, the stem, leaving 3 to 4 inches of stem attached. A pumpkin without its stem rots much faster. Carry pumpkins by cradling them from the bottom, never by the stem. A snapped stem is a storage death sentence. Curing is the step home gardeners often skip and then wonder why their pumpkins rot by November. Curing is a 10 to 14 day period immediately after harvest where you keep pumpkins in a warm 80 to 85 degree, dry, well ventilated spot. A picnic table in the sun, a warm garage, a sunroom, a greenhouse. The warmth hardens the skin further and heals any minor cuts or abrasions in the rind that could allow rot to enter. After curing, store in a cool 50 to 55 degree dry location, a basement, a cool spare room, a root cellar. Properly cured pumpkins can store for 3 to 6 months. An uncured pumpkin often rots by Thanksgiving. Pumpkins are one of the most easy crops for seed saving, and it connects directly to that long history of seed stewardship that runs through this whole series. Wait until the pumpkin is fully mature, past eating stage if anything. Scoop out the seeds, rinse away the pulp in a colander, and spread them in a single layer on a screen or paper towel to dry for 2 to 3 weeks. Store in a labeled envelope in a cool, dry location. Pumpkin seeds remain viable for 4 to 6 years when properly stored. Remember, you can't save seed from a hybrid variety. Save only heirloom or open pollinated varieties. Another important note, pumpkins cross-pollinate readily with other pumpkins and some squashes. If you grew multiple varieties, seeds may not come true to a parent plant. For reliable seed saving, grow only one variety of pumpkin or hand pollinate and cover flowers to prevent cross-pollination. Oh, about that Zone 4 pumpkin grower Travis? There's a photo from that trip where his daughter is sitting on top of the pumpkin. It is a completely normal thing to do when your dad grows a pumpkin the size of a small car. But the pumpkins I love most are not the record breakers. They're the sugar pies that become Thanksgiving pie, the Cinderellas sitting on the front porch through October, the Jarradales with their impossible blue-gray color that look like they came from a different world entirely.
Next up in my seed growing series is onions and garlic. They are grown in completely different ways. They're deeply rooted in the history of this area, and they're very essential for our kitchen gardens. Until next time, I'm Carol from Almost 2 Acres. Let's get growing in Zone 4.